Hello, everyone. As you can see, we're here live, and we don't hide in victory and we don't hide in defeat. So let's get into this match day reaction to Manchester United 0, Real Sociedad 1. Hello, everyone. You're very welcome to this Thursday evening reaction to Manchester United versus Real Sociedad in our Europa League opener. Obviously, this has ended in defeat for Manchester United, but I'm joined here by the learned Omundi Juma, the defensive coach, and the man from the capital, Pat Lawless. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Good, thank you. Good. How are you, sir?
Cannot complain. I'm going to be watching the NFL later on. I got a day off tomorrow, and I'm going to be checking out the Bills and the Rams. So I'm looking forward to that one later on. But, gentlemen, business not as usual for Manchester United today. A defeat for Erik ten Hag in his Europa League debut. And Cristiano Ronaldo has added to his time without a goal after making his debut in the Europa League. But let's get into the finer details. And obviously, the lineup, there was some alterations between what we had been seeing over the last number of games. And the defensive partnership of Lindelof and Maguire that we were so familiar with last season was restored. Other changes included Fred and Casemiro coming in to make starts. And of course, Anthony, who was believed that needed extra minutes, did retain his starting spot. And Ronaldo made his starting return up top. I'm going to start with you, Pat. The impact of the lineup changes, do you think that was to be expected given the low number of games that we were trying to navigate?
Yeah, we did expect a few changes, but I didn't expect so many changes. I was a little bit shocked when I seen the starting lineup because I was sitting down with one of my pals and I said, show me your phone. And he showed me Victor and Maguire, and I went, oh, straight away. I went, I'm not too sure, I really only want, not that I have anything, I don't have a problem with Lindelof or Maguire. I feel like both of them will be able to work their way back into the squad. But when I seen the two of them together, I was just a bit apprehensive. When I seen the midfield, I seen Fred, Casemiro, and Eriksen, which I was actually a little bit more shocked to see Eriksen playing more than McTominay, to be honest, which I thought it was Eriksen who was going to get the rest. And then we saw Alanga brought back in, no problem with that. Ronaldo starting, which was a bit of an obvious one. And Anthony starting again, which obviously Ten Hag's trying to get his energy levels built up for a full 90 minutes. He didn't get the full 90 minutes, but obviously that will come in time. But I felt on the night that we made, Erik ten Hag made maybe a few too many changes, but this man is an experienced coach, and to him, he's probably thinking, I'm going to give them all a run out. This game isn't that important. If I was that concerned about it, I'd put the full strength squad out in the next round. So it was all down to the coach tonight, really, to be honest.
Interesting thoughts there, Pat. And on Monday, around 6 o'clock today, I saw some tweets regarding again, leaks from the Manchester United camp as regards to the makeup of the matchday squad. It stated that Ronaldo was starting, and it name-checked every single one of the youngsters that was being put onto the bench. How much of a disadvantage is it for our team information to be getting out there an hour, 2 hours before time? Does it allow the opposition to counter with the way that they're going to structure themselves?
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, they haven't released their sheet by that point. They can adjust. They got an hour. It was 7 p.m. tonight that they're supposed to put their sheet out. And if they've got an hour of notice to say this is what Man United are putting out there, they can make adjustments accordingly. And I think they did. I think this just going for what they did on the pitch. They brought on a big striker when Martinez came on, and he sort of sat on Martinez and targeted him. It was a tough duel for Martinez because the height difference, even though he done well. But the guy was obviously a big lump, and no disrespect, good player, looked like a good player, but he might have been targeted for Martinez, for example. So it does make a difference if you do release stuff like that early on. Just to go on to the lineup as well, we did discuss this yesterday, and Pat made a great point stating about the changes, and we did need to make changes. Lots of senior players there in and around the squad that needed game time, and they got their game time today. I think the manager's good. I know the results poor, but it's good to give them a run out and let them demonstrate what sort of character they've got. The manager's got to get to know these players, so he can rely on them, and he's got some conclusions today, I'm sure, from some of the performances out there.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to come into a rather linked piece before we get into the comments and what they thought of the match day lineup. And that is the effect of the changes on the defensive unit. It appeared tonight that Manchester United weren't exerting the same body language as we saw as being a familiar sight in the Prem so far. There wasn't the same level of backslapping. There wasn't the same level of congratulations to each other when the stuff that they wanted to do right was done right. Did you notice that change in the makeup of the lineup, Pat? And is that rather telling that the body language completely and utterly shifted from what we saw in Premier League for the last number of weeks?
I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing. In the first couple of minutes, Anthony was backtracking down our right-hand side of the pitch, Real Sociedad, the left-hand side, chasing the young Udo. Is he a striker or a winger? But he was flapping his arms around the place, and Anthony got stuck right into him. And right behind him was Casemiro. They get stuck in and kick him off the side of the pitch together. And I went, whoa, go on, lads. Here we go. We're in for a bit of physicality tonight. But that was it. I don't remember seeing any of that kind of cohesion after that where you were like the last day. Until Martinez came on, I didn't feel that team spirit of we're going to do this together. It just felt a little like, don't get me wrong, I thought Maguire was very composed tonight. He'd done his job right, but it just felt a little bit too noisy again. And I just really think that's what you get when you have Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. They just don't have that aggression in them.
Monday, obviously, you are very familiar, having watched this defensive partnership all last season with us here on the Man United agenda. But how concerned would you be about the shift in the mentality of the squad in the way that they were reacting to the patterns of play that were going on in front of them? Because obviously, when Varane and Martinez were sitting in that partnership, there was a lot more communication, it seemed, going on between the back four and their midfield, something that didn't seem as evident tonight, and a tempo drop seemed to be creeping into what the gameplay was dictating.
Look, I'm not here to make excuses, but I do think one thing we'll say, even Ralph Rangnick said it as well, we need more aggression. And Paddy's in the comments, I've just seen him, ruthless aggression, as you say. Paddy, I'm a believer in you. I really am, yeah. But you do need aggression for every single game. You can't take days off. I'm not suggesting that's what happened today. I'm just saying the energy was different when we're playing Arsenal, when we're playing Liverpool, when we got our back, in Premiership. It means something. We go out there, we fight. I think sometimes when you play foreign teams who keep the ball, bit slower game, bit of slower tempo, less crowd in there as well, you can lose a bit of momentum and bit of fight, bit of bite, and all those characteristics, which were really important, and we couldn't get it back on it. When we went the goal down, it was like we were struggling to get our foot on the ball and create chances. So we were really off the pace today, and I think it could be a number of factors: the change of team, the atmosphere in the stadium, lack of fans there, the desire, like you're saying, the passion about it. You can switch off a little bit. The opposition as well, like I just said, they play a brand of football. They've got most clean sheets in Spain, Spanish League last season, which suggests that they can stifle teams, and it's hard to get going against them. So there's a lot of factors there, but it's no excuse. One thing you do need to, when you go out there, 100%, go into, and give it all, and have that aggression for every game. And these are lessons we'd rather have now in the first group game rather than like later on in the season. At least get these lessons out of the way now, like we did in the first two games of the season, which we lost and we've kind of learned from. So hopefully these players will learn from that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, seeing as we did cover the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to just touch briefly on the offensive side of the ball as well before we hit the comments, because it did seem like we were lacking a cutting edge, that the blade wasn't sharp when we got in front of goal. And this seems to be bore out in the stats. We had a 51% possession with 15 goal attempts, only 3 of which actually made it on target. 5 were off target and 7 were blocked. In the first half, we only registered 4 of those attempts on goal, only 1 of which was on target. It did seem to me, Omundi, that Cristiano Ronaldo was building up in frustration in terms of the service that he was getting. How do you feel that we gelled in terms of putting together patterns of play that would have threatened the Real Sociedad backline, who, to be fair, looked very comfortable throughout game?
Yeah, they've got a nice little system there. Like I was saying just earlier, they've got a great goalkeeper's got most clean sheets last season. That speaks the volumes about how they play. They're very good defensively and can stifle teams in a way. And a lot of Spanish teams can manage the ball like that, and it prevent you from. They can kill your momentum. We like to get the crowd up, get excited and all that kind of thing. They can kill that with just a few little tackles, little slowed up the play and that kind of thing. So credit to them. I just want to say credit to Sociedad for their performance today. They got the result. That's the main thing. And I think the lack of cutting edge has got to do, like I said, there's a number of things. I'm not making excuses, but Ronaldo will be frustrated. He had a little header. Eriksen had a little dinked cross, which he missed. And then he had another header, which he scored, but it was offside. He didn't make the effort to get back onside early enough. And then when he went, it was too late. So Ronaldo has to sort of figure out how he can perform best in his team with his attributes that he has at 37, coming on 38 years old. Well, how can he adjust his game slightly to be more effective? And because the team system is okay, it will create chances, but Ronaldo has to sort of balance that with how he's doing. A couple of times, as Pat said, a couple of weeks ago, Pat noticed that he was getting closed down too quickly when he couldn't get away from defenders with his pace. So he has to make those adjustments. And rather than being frustrated, he's there till January, get to know and get better, and he will score his goals eventually.
Pat, Bill Baggio was questioning the intensity of the Manchester United attack and that it was a bit flat. How significant do you think the pace and tempo of the game that we were playing at was in the way that we went about our business in front of goal?
The silky passing that we've been watching, and it's kind of like a slingshot move, if that's what you want to call it, right? That's what we've been seeing for our goals for the last while. You see the low picking the ball up in the right, and then in the blink of an eye, the ball goes from the low to Eriksen to Bruno, and then Bruno puts it through to Sancho or Rashford. Tonight, what was happening was it was ended up at the man's feet of our boss's idol, Fred, but unfortunately, he just doesn't have that killer pass, killer touch that's going to lay it on the feet or lay it in front of the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. If Bruno or Sancho had been there tonight, it could have been a different game. I know Sancho came on the second half, but it's a different story until starting the game and coming onto a game. There was 2 touches, possibly 3 in the first half that Fred done, and I'm kind of looking at him going, they're an absolute hospital ball into Cristiano Ronaldo, who isn't 100% match fit, who needs a bit of support, and it just wasn't great, to be honest with you. I'm not slating Fred. I don't think he had his greatest game. His touches and his passes weren't good enough tonight, to be honest with you. And I think if we had had Bruno on the team tonight starting off, it would have been a different game. We could have killed it off sooner, and it would have been a different game.
Absolutely. Now, before we get on to talking about the controversial moment of the game, which was VAR, on Monday, we have a lot of our wonderful viewers in the comments that are giving their views on tonight's game. Will you hit us up with some of these for me, please?
No problem. Bargav, how you doing? Weird game that. Our game's really cancelled this week. He's asking, want to say hi to TalkMU. Done a brilliant commentary for the game. Solo, our boss man, is in the house. Say, good evening, gentlemen. I want to say hi to Viking Red as well. How you doing? Said, hi, lads. What a joke. In the pen. Plus, did you see the obvious pen on Ronnie? Super Nick is here. My music lover. How you doing, girls? She says, Silver clued them up. Talking about David Silver. Bill Baggio saying, yes, big up to guys on the panel. Bet you guys are tanked up on coffee after that shower of shite. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I want to say hi to my colleague Bath Time with Born. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Bill Baggio saying Maguire wasn't pressed hard by Sociedad. They were comfortable sitting back. Paddy saying, I think the conclusion is, and I have said it for a long time now, a while ago, and confirmed by my Man United taxi driver today, that some of the Man United players just aren't up to the standard. Simple as that. He's saying, Viking Red said he missed McTominay. What the F is Fred? Fred was shite. Bath Time saying, I can't imagine what it's like playing in 90 minutes after an announcement like that. Gavin Ward saying, personally, I don't think the defense was the issue tonight. I think the movement up front was rubbish and the creativity in midfield was lacking. What Pat said about Fred and what Rebel was highlighting as well. Viking Red saying we should have kept Eric B and Lindelof should have gone off before. Eric Bailey's talking about. Super Nick saying at Bath Time, eye test up for this match would be interesting, very disorganized and at times to me compared to the last match. Yeah, most certainly. Eric Ten Hag is experimenting, question mark. The draw would have been fair. The box had an invisible screen. Super Nick. Bartha said, if you have Fred as a 10, this kind of stuff, you get unfortunately, and having Fred as 10 is to help Ronnie, but it's not helping. Trying to say, Bill Badger saying, lads, we were shy against Ports's team. Intensity was non-existent apart from Martinez and Malacia. Devastated that they didn't play the new keeper, says Bath Time. I want to say hi to Mark Edmund from Australia. He's saying, did Omundi talk about Maguire yet? Vikings Red saying, I think Ronnie needs more playing time with the under-23s to get match sharp. Sociedad, the defensive excellent defensively, says Mark as well. Last couple here. Bath Time saying there's a couple of Amonzes that rings in my head when I see Ronnie now, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command. I didn't really read that correctly, but you can read it yourselves. And finally, our Dutch correspondent, that'd be Adrian Vincent. He's saying Ronaldo, Casemiro, and Fred brought their old tactics and habits, which deflated Ten Hag's strategy. There you go. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Monday, for hitting up the comments. And just on Casemiro, Bat Time did say that maybe it's time that we start getting a little bit concerned about him, that he's had yet another poor performance in the eyes of Bat Time in a United shirt. But we leave that to the comments as to what they think about Casemiro's first start for Manchester United. Now, that moves us on to the moment of controversy in this game, and that is the VAR review for a handball by Martinez. Now, I'm going to give you the rule as it stands with regards to handball. Changes occurred this season with regards to the interpretation of what a deliberate act of handball constitutes. Referees will now look for deliberate action on behalf of the player with an emphasis on whether the hand/arm is in a natural position or not. An arm extended away from the body makes that body bigger in an unnatural position, explains Mike Riley, the managing director of the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, PGMO, the referee's body. If the ball strikes the arm, particularly if it is blocking a shot or goal, there is a greater likelihood we will penalise that. The proximity of the player whose hand or arm makes contact with the ball to where the ball was struck from will be an important consideration for officials when making the decision to award a penalty or not. Now, according to some reports today, it is stated that it was recommended that the referee attend the pitch side monitor to review it. Of course, in today's game, he did not attend the pitch side monitor. But setting the scene, Martinez was a couple of feet away from the ball when it began to strike. As the striking action was taking place, Martinez begins to rotate his body, and as the ball is coming towards him, his hands are pointing towards the goal line and his legs are out in front of where the ball is heading for. The ball reverberates off his thigh and subsequently into the arms, which were on the far side of where the ball was after being shot from. So a very unfortunate deflection from thigh to a set of arms that couldn't have been further away from making contact with the ball if he intended to do it naturally. The decision was made to award the penalty, much to disbelief of fans at Old Trafford and the commentators of the match day television coverage, BT Sport. So on Monday, I'm going to come to you first. Look, regardless of the significance of this VAR decision on the final result, because we'll have our thoughts on that as we are making our summations at the end, how disappointing is it that VAR is the subject of controversy rather than aiding what we wanted to clean up in football?
Football's a fast-paced game. It's going to, even before all this, before VAR, you had to rely on the referee and a linesman, 2 linesmen, and that was it. And I don't know about the stats, but I'm sure sometimes you get a bit of luck, sometimes you don't. Sometimes the referee makes a mistake, something. And the same seems to be applying with VAR. We need one rule, and it just needs to be clear for everyone. So there's no indecision, there's no question marks. I don't want to be talking about it. The fact is, it did hit his hand somehow. And now I didn't know the rule. I'm not up to date, but it came off his leg. I thought it was a great block. You know, if you make all the effort to put that block in, how the hell are you going to know where his hand is? It's not like his hand's out there. It was almost by his body. He went in, put the block in, made a lot of effort for that for his team, and that's what you expect from defenders. And he got penalised for it, and he got a yellow card as well. I thought it was kind of a bit unfair, but if it hits his hand in the box, but you know, it's just I just want the rules clarified, because I still don't know, even after what you just read out there, Rebel. I still don't know. The referee would have to justify it after the game, maybe, if asked the question, why was that a penalty? Why? And it needs to be clear for everybody. I'm of the thinking we should just go back to just having the ref and let the ref decide, because there's corruption then, and there's still corruption now. How you can't stop corruption by saying there's someone in VAR who might not be saying, actually, it's better off if we just give that, or we don't do it this time, because we're still getting decisions like that where it doesn't go to VAR, or something's being overturned. It just doesn't make sense. So disappointed, but we should still come back from that and try to play football, which we didn't.
Pat, the term hands in a natural position, in your view, given the way that passage of play transpired, could Martinez's arms have actually been anywhere other than the way that they were extended? And if the murmurings that the ref was instructed by VAR to attend the pitch-eyes monitor are true and he refused, how significant is that in terms of the way that UEFA are directing their officials? And do you think the ref would have had a right to refuse attending the pitch-eyes monitor?
Look, the rules are the rules. If Martinez had went for that challenge with his arms behind his back, he would have looked like a synchronized swimmer. So I can't imagine how the lad could have done it any differently. Look, our luck wasn't with us today, lads, and that was it. We didn't play great. So we're not the kind of YouTube channel that sits here complaining over that kind of thing. We understand. Our bit of luck wasn't here today, and it just didn't go our way. The rules are the rules, and unfortunately, we got hit by them today.
Absolutely. I do think those of us on the panel today feel that it certainly wasn't a defining moment in the game, but at the same time, it would be nice as football fans to be able to say, look, VAR is here to be a benefit to making sure that incorrect decisions are not allowed to stand. However, it does seem, especially on the back of last weekend's Premier League games, that it's more and more the subject of controversy and the star man in the review of games at this point, rather than be the subtle undercarriage that should be just making sure that all things are running smoothly. But on Monday, before we get to the final thoughts of the panel tonight, will you give us a few more comments from the wonderful viewers?
Yep, no problem. Mark Edmund, Australia, said the rule is clear. Can't be handball if it comes off another body part onto the arm. I already read the rules, so he was clear about that. Martin said, I have no idea about Brazil win matches if you drop Fred from those performances. If he, going to get to the Viking Red saying all I can say is the butcher got shafted by UEFA clowns. Sorry about this. After Bill Badger saying he was poor, giving away the ball a few times, talking about Fred again. Here we go. Sorry. Viking Red say, plus lads, it hit him on the shirt sleeve. Can't be a pen. Mark Edmonds saying, anyone heard of Occam's razor? Clearly, another excuse. He's saying it was like the camel walks over the cliff and falls through the eye of a pin. Then it's okay. It's a penalty, says a good Australian humour there. Halftime saying a bunch of bass farmers from the port where I used to get drunk last season. We should be smashing by 3 or 4 with those players that we had out today. Bill Badger saying no intent. The referee needs, banning or something. Through the table, want to say hi to you. How you doing, man? He says, hello, boys. How you doing? Yeah.
How are you, Britt? How you doing? That our very own Brit, of course, on Monday, who is our NFL.
Of course. Big up, Brit.
I don't think he's doing a watch along tonight because his very own Buffalo Bills are in action at 1:15 British Standard Time. If you are of the mindset to stay up and take in a bit of American football, but I think
big up, Brit. Big up, Brit. I miss you. Part of the channel. What a great pundit as well for Man United Agenda.
I am just seeing some comments there with regards to a possible penalty that should have been given to Ronaldo. Pat, do you have any offerings on or thoughts to add to whether or not we should have been given a penalty for a foul on Cristiano?
I was talking to my buddy while watching the game, and what I said to him was, and he said the same thing to me, to be honest. Cristiano, some of the balls that were given to him tonight were poor and made him look poor. He wasn't the sharpest in getting to some of the balls. And I think at that stage of the game, the referee looked at him, thought he was play acting. But at this point, he'd actually been pulled down for that decision. And if it had been looked at properly by the referee, he would have clearly seen that the chap had his arm around Ronaldo's neck and pulled him right back. So it would have been in contention, in fairness, to be quite honest. It's just the rest of the game. The referee may have had his mind made up before he looked at it.
There we are. On Monday, I'm going to come to you now for final thoughts on Manchester United's performance today. Should they have actually gotten anything out of it, and where do we go from here?
The answer is yeah. I think we should have really tried harder. Like we said in the first segment, it's about going out there and giving you all. And really try, I didn't see that enough of that today. It was really flat. Where do we go from here? I think we go back to training, which is great, which is a great period to be in, because last time we had training like for 7-8 days, which hopefully, maybe the games will be off, was against Liverpool. We had Liverpool coming up and coming off a loss as well. So that training and that attitude adjustment and kicking their butts in training will work again, I think, from Ten Hag. We got to look forward to this. There's a long season, and we will improve. And some of these players that came in today, they really need to have a long, hard look at themselves and say, how can I really get in this side? I have to prove it. And that was my opportunity today to do it. And some they didn't really represent, in my opinion.
Pat, obviously after Brentford game, there was the much commented Ten Hag run off on the Sunday day off. Given the level of performance that we saw today and what appeared to be a shift in body language amongst the cohesive team unit, do you expect a Ten Hag riot act masterclass in training again to follow from tonight's performance?
Part of me does and part of me doesn't. And to touch on a comment that Super Nick made earlier on, is this an Eric Ten Hag experiment? Part of me makes me feel like that it is, because when he made his first substitute, he took Christian Eriksen off, and I'm looking at him going, maybe Buddy Gary are looking at each other going, he's taking Eriksen off and he's leaving Fred on the pitch. So, did I go to the toilet for too long? Did I miss something? Is Fred already off the pitch? And then I'm saying to myself, is he leaving other players on the pitch who weren't playing as well to give them minutes to get them to play better? So part of me thinks that maybe this is a little bit of an experiment. Maybe he is just trying to give players a bit of game time. He didn't seem overly concerned. The fact that he brought on Garnacho and Charlie McNeil, well, he kind of brought on the best of what we had in Sancho as well. So I'm a little bit unsure, to be honest. It wasn't their look on the night. we weren't great. I think we needed to suck it up, train harder, and get on with it for the next game. We have a tough game now playing Crystal Palace now on Sunday at 4:30. So I look forward to that.
Absolutely, and hopefully onwards and upwards as we prepare to take on Patrick Vieira's charges. Of course, there is going to be a correspondence from the Premier League tomorrow in regard to whether or not the weekend's fixtures will continue following the passing of Queen Elizabeth of England and the United Kingdom, and the thoughts and prayers of all in the Man United agenda are with the family and the people of the United Kingdom. Yeshde Gorev Anam, as they say in Irish, may she rest in peace. But on Monday, Pat, I want to thank you very much for your contribution in tonight's review show. We will be back tomorrow, possibly with the preview show, dependent on whether the fixtures are retained. But the Friday night takeaway will go ahead as normal. But from us on this Thursday night, a very good night to you all.
Bye-bye.